opened fire on thousands of beachgoers in Bondi during a Hanukkah festival on December 14th, 2025.
Oh my God. If something like this can happen in the middle of a public celebration in broad daylight in one of the most recognizable beaches in the world, we have to ask ourselves, should we be worried? Welcome back to Should We Be Worried? Your source for questioning what's really going on behind the scenes and trying to make sense of it all. Thanks for tuning in. In today's episode, we're taking our first look into the Bondi Beach terrorist attack. We're working only with initial reporting right now, trying to understand what took place during this tragic event. And as more details come out, this story is already raising some serious questions about public safety, about the state of the world in 2025, and how something like this can even happen. Now, before we get started, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. It really helps the channel grow, and I appreciate every single one of you. And if this is your first time here, I want to send a special welcome to you. I hope you walk away with something to think about. On December 14th, another global tragedy unfolded. While families and communities were gathered at Bondi Beach celebrating Hanukkah, two men, a father and his adult son, opened fire targeting the Jewish community during a public event. According to early reports, 16 people were killed and dozens more were injured. The father, aged 50, was killed by police at the scene. The son, aged 24, was wounded and disarmed after a bystander risked his life to stop him. The killer was then taken into custody by the police. This incident has sparked national grief, international shock, and a renewed debate around gun laws, public safety, and extremism. Today, we're going to review the initial reporting, and we basically hold in space for the innocent brothers and sisters who were targeted and ask an uncomfortable but necessary question about where we're headed. Man, 2025, we thought we was done with some of the craziness. We thought we was done with all the madness. I mean, when we talk about public safety and firearms and the world we're raising our families in, we got to ask the question, should we be worried? For a lot of us watching this, the most unsettling part isn't just the numbers. It's the setting. It's at a beach. It's during the holidays with families and kids around. A place that's supposed to represent joy and freedom and community. Many of us go to events like this thinking nothing like this could ever happen. And then when it does, it forces a shift in how safe the world feels overnight. If you're feeling uneasy or confused or even emotionally numb watching this, you're not alone. Let's start with what we know so far from the initial reporting. I want to walk through the timelines as it's being presented before we get into reactions or bigger implications.
The two alleged gunmen involved in a terror attack on Australian soil have been identified by police. Naveed Akram, 24, and his father, Sajid Akram, 50, who was shot and killed by police, opened fire on thousands of beachgoers in Bondi during a Hanukkah festival on December 14th, 2025.
Oh my God.
Naveed was arrested by New South Wales police at the scene after being downed and is in a critical but stable condition. Horror scenes unfolded around 6:45 p.m. as the two men, armed with rifles and shotguns, began a deadly rampage lasting over 10 minutes. The mass shooting as of writing has left at least 16 people dead and dozens injured. The ages of those killed range from 10 years old to 87. Footage captured in a building across on Campbell Parade sees a father and son working in unison, firing shot after shot into the Jewish gathering. Naveed's mother, Verena, told reporters that her son last spoke to the family on Sunday morning. The father and son had told their family that they were going on a fishing trip to Jarvis Bay. Reports also state Naveed was a bricklayer before being laid off about 2 months ago after the company collapsed. Sajid Akram, the 50-year-old owner of a fruit shop killed in the standoff, was a licensed firearm holder, having held a gun license for about a decade. On-scene video caught the moment Sajid was disarmed by a local hero who tackled the alleged gunman and pointed his own gun at him.
Oh!
So according to authorities, the attack happened during a Hanukkah gathering. I mean, these two shooters, the father and son together, I mean, they was obviously working together, shooting into the crowd. They kind of looked like they know what they was doing. The father being killed on the scene, and then the son stopped after a bystander rushed him and wrestled away the rifle. I mean, this dude is a true hero. That alone deserves pause. An unarmed bystander risking his life to stop an active shooter, man, that is very commendable. That's not something most people think they're capable of, but when that moment comes, you see people do, very heroic things. That act alone saved countless lives, and I salute that man right there. I salute that man that did that. But then there's another layer to it. So check out what this bystander said, this lifeguard that was actually on the scene. Let's check out what he says.
How are you feeling, Trent? You okay? You want to have a chat? Okay. So Trent's here with me now. So Trent is one of the lifeguards who was on duty yesterday. And look, as you would expect, this is very difficult. And Trent's been good enough to come and talk to us today. So how are you making sense of it all this morning, Trent?
Oh, just a bit emotional right now. Everything that's happened. I was on my break from lifeguarding, and all the boys were surfing out on the north side. And at first we thought it was fireworks, and then we realised everyone was screaming. We looked up, and then we see people dropping to the floor. I saw a little kid drop to the floor, and it was really emotional. We were hiding under our boards, and then we went to go paddle out. After we finished paddling out, we ran all the way up to the North Shore parking. Everyone was screaming. We didn't know what was going on. We saw a couple of dead bodies when we were walking back down, and all the high intensity moment, everything was just so stressful, especially seeing a dead body for the first time. All my mates were just sad. We didn't know what to do. I still haven't got changed from my gear from yesterday. I left my phone, everything at the beach, making sure everyone's alright. We ran all the way up, left all our belongings. We were just hiding. We didn't know what to do. People were screaming, and then 30 minutes later we were looking around. Then we see just a bunch of dead bodies, blood everywhere, and it was just like, words can't describe how it felt, because especially as a kid like me, seeing everything that went out, I just can't describe the feeling. Like, I would never want to say something like this again.
So initially, the lifeguard, he thought he heard fireworks. He didn't know what was going on. And that happens a lot during a lot of these mass violent attacks and killings where firearms are a part of the incident. People think that they hear backfiring of cars or loud bangs. They don't really know what's going on. They don't really register the gunfire. And so when you out at these public events and you hear something like this, you need to take heed. You need to be paying attention. Wherever you go out into a public event now, you need to understand that you need to keep your head on a swivel. Sometimes our brains don't want to accept what's happening, but I always tell my girls, I always tell my family, like, leave early if leave early when you can. There's no need to always go and stay as long as the crowd stays, and always know where the exit is. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. We just tell our kids, don't even go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's we in that kind of mode. We in that kind of season. Like, ain't no reason to be going to no major public events. Hey, it is what it is. Yeah, so this is tragic, man. He describes seeing a child shot. I mean, I don't know what to say about that, man. That's really bad, man. That's terrible. That's something that'll stay with you forever, seeing a child shot, man. And we know that kid didn't deserve that, so let's hold space to that child's family and everybody else that's over there feeling the results of this tragedy. So in this next clip, this is one of the killer's former co-workers who talks about his experience working with the son that's 24 years old that got detained.
Worked with Nav probably on and off for about 5 years as a brickie. Yeah, you wouldn't pick it, but yeah, that's him.
Mate, and when you saw this photo, is this the first photo you saw?
That's the first, the first one, the first close-up that I saw yesterday. And straight away could tell it was him.
And mate, what did you think?
Obviously in shock. Disbelief. Like, sort of a pretty quiet bloke, kept to himself, fairly polite, respectful, had his views, but never pushed anything on anyone.
Yeah, so that's a pretty interesting clip, man. The coworker said that the guy was very polite and respectful and quiet. You know, someone you never expect to do something like this. And that's the thing, man. You know, we around people all day that look us in our face and they just have terrible things going on in their life and in their head, and you just never know when they gonna snap off and pop off, and you just always got to be ready for that. You can't trust people like you used to trust them. You can't talk to people like you used to talk to them. You know, you always have to be watching and wondering who is really behind the person that you're speaking to every day. You know, he said that he was a little weird, you know. He talked a lot about guns, but nothing really to set alarms off, you know. But I wonder, you know, if he would have set my alarms off, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't generally talk to people about guns and stuff like that at work. And if somebody takes me as weird, man, I'm always keeping one eye open. But you know, people think that a monster is gonna look like a monster. A monster don't always look like a monster. A monster can look like the most nicest, peacefulest person you ever seen in your life. You just never know. That's the kind of times we in. So now we ask ourselves, you know, what does real prevention look like anymore? You know, is the answer stricter gun laws to actually stop something like this? You know, or do we need to shift the conversation, you know, after the damage is already done? Are we focusing on weapons because it's easier than addressing ideology, mental health, or social fragmentation? I don't know. But I definitely know that when violence starts to target specific religious groups or ethnic groups in public spaces, you know, we headed to a bad place. So this story is still developing, and we'll continue to follow it as more verified information comes out. For now, the most important thing is acknowledging the lives lost. Families are changed forever, and the communities impacted by this act of violence. We hold space for it all. Send some prayers up to the people in this community. Thanks for watching. Let's continue the conversation in the comments. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and let me know. Should we be worried? Peace.